Yeah, once upon a time there were seven guys: Dale Thompson, Stuart Ice, Des Marshall, Connor Roberts, Sean Andrews, Robert Lawrence, and Mitch Johnson, who went on an adventure to Disneyland in dramatic circumstances. There was a dangerous man, Carlo Bramacone, who was waiting at an airport in Florida. They boarded the plane to Florida. They were going for a lad's celebration, where they were delayed by half an hour. The lads were disgusted and wanted a refund on the holiday. However, the plane finally arrived and the lads got on the plane, and the plane set off to go to Florida from Heathrow, which is where they were flying from. All of a sudden, there was a dramatic twist. There was a guy who had a fake passport. Jamal Fayed Hussein. He had a history of 12 charges. He was a French citizen. As we were in the air, his language to the crew on the plane, the language he used was revolting. All of a sudden, it was starting to get very heated on the plane. The rain was lashing it down as the plane was rocking side to side. Now we landed in Florida. The seven guys got off the plane. Waited at the other side was Carlo Bramacone, who was an Italian resident who has previous history of manslaughter. The lads went into the arrivals to collect their luggage, and then the guys left the airport. Carlo Bramacone asked one of the guys if he had a cigarette, and they said that they didn't. And they said that they didn't. Sorry, and they said that they hadn't. Sorry. In quite dramatic circumstances, the drama was not done yet. Carlo Bramacone was not done yet. He asked Dale Thompson, Stuart Ice, Des Marshall, Connor Roberts, Sean Andrews, Robert Lawrence, and Mitch Johnson if they had any money on them. They said no. So the guys, they got in the car, but they were being followed by the two men, Carlo Bramacone and Jamal Fayed Hussein. They weren't messing around. They wanted these seven guys. Florida City Police were on the lookout for the two men, Jamal Fayed Hussein and Carlo Bramacone. The two men contacted Dale Thompson, Stuart Ice, Des Marshall, Connor Roberts, Sean Andrews, Robert Lawrence, and Mitch Johnson before they left for the airport. The next day, Dale Thompson, Stuart Ice, Des Marshall, Connor Roberts, Sean Andrews, I beg your pardon, Robert Lawrence and Mitch Johnson had a knock at the door, where all the lads were staying in their villa, the person's villa that they were renting from when the accommodation that they were staying in of the person in America. Mitch Johnson opened the door. Carlo Bramacone walked straight into the villa and asked Dale Thompson, Stuart Ice, Des Marshall, Connor Roberts, Sean Andrews, Robert Lawrence, and Mitch Johnson where the money was. The lad's response was that it was in the bedroom. So Mitch Connor took him to the bedroom, where all the lads were sharing a room. They were joined by Jamal Fayed Hussein. He managed to get the money, and the two men drove off with £12,500. The police caught the two men just as they drove off. The lads got their money back, and Jamal Fayed Hussein and Carlo Bramacone, they were on police custody before they learned their fate. The next day, Jamal Fayed Hussein and Carlo Bramacone appeared at a court in Miami, where they were set to learn their fate. The judge handed them 50 years in prison for robbery. The next day, Dale Thompson, Stuart Ice, Des Marshall, Connor Roberts, Sean Andrews, Robert Lawrence, and Mitch Johnson, they went to the beach when they realised Mitch Johnson, he split his trousers. Yeah, he split his trousers. Mitch Johnson walked back to the villa to change his trousers. Now Mitch Johnson had changed his trousers. He went back to join the seven lads on the beach. All of a sudden, there was a change of weather. The winds were blowing extremely strong, with a thunderstorm on the way on the hill. The lads now went in the sea. They started swimming when Mitch Johnson felt something. It was a jellyfish. Mitch Johnson swam away from the jellyfish. The lads got out of the sea, got dressed, and went back to the holiday villa where they were staying. And later that evening, Dale Thompson, Stuart Ice, Des Marshall, Connor Roberts, Sean Andrews, Robert Lawrence, and Mitch Johnson. These are the seven men. They decided to go out clubbing in the city centre in Florida. When they arrived at the club, they showed their IDs to the bouncers on the door and went inside the club. Now the lads were in the club. They got chatting to some girls when in the distance there was a dramatic twist. Out of nowhere, a guy grabbed onto Connor Roberts. It exploded into life. The bouncer rushed into the club and had to escort the man out. When out of nowhere the man got the bouncer. I have never seen anything like this, the 6 guys said. Now some girls came over to the 7 lads and started to have a conversation with some girls. Asked the 7 lads to go out with them. The 7 lads said yes. Yeah. Now they had a dance on the floor. No, sorry, they had a dance on the dance floor. Sorry, late that night there was some trouble on the streets. One man got rushed into hospital after he was attacked outside the club. Later that night, the lads went back to the holiday villa when they learned that there was a leak coming in from the wall. Now the lads called in a dam specialist to patch up the dam. It was looking really serious. The dam specialist arrived in a matter of seconds to sort out the dam. They completed the job in a matter of seconds, the quickest ever by a dam specialist. The next morning, Connor Roberts passed out, so Dale Thompson put Connor Roberts into the recovery position to check if he was breathing. Connor Roberts was not breathing. However, there was a twist. Yeah, Connor Roberts started breathing again. It was quite unbelievable. Connor Roberts was 90 minutes of being rushed into hospital. He was 90 minutes of being rushed to the hospital. The life nearly ended, but for Dale Thompson to the rescue. The next day, the 7 lads all went for a surf in the sea. All the lads went out surfing in the sea when all of a sudden a massive wave came out. A massive wave came and the lads went over. There was a dramatic twist. The 2 men, Jamal Farid Hussein and Colin Bramaconi, appeared from out of nowhere. This was extraordinary. The world had exploded into life. The mood on the streets was disgust and real anger. It was real anger. These people escaped prison. Jamal and Colin Bramaconi were on the run. The next day, the police received a phone call and they were told that Jamal Farid Hussein and Colin Bramaconi had escaped prison. So now Colin Bramaconi and Jamal Farid Hussein was sentenced for 70 years. The next morning, the 7 lads all went to Walt Disney World. They went on the rides. They were so terrified what was going to happen next. Late that afternoon, the 7 lads went swimming. The weather was changing by every second with the clouds changing dramatically. There was a thunderstorm, so all the lads they headed home. Later that evening, the lads went out to Twin Peaks Restaurant. When they got to Twin Peaks Restaurant, Connor Roberts asked for a table for 7 people. The waiter showed them to the table. The waiter took their orders, and then, while they're waiting for their food, they looked behind, and there was a couple who was looking at them. The waiter brought their food over, and they had their food These guys were watching them eat, so the 7 guys told the waiter about these guys. And the waiter kicked them out of the restaurant for harassment towards the 7 lads who were trying to have their food. The lads all had cheeseburger with chips and then had a chocolate fudge cake for the dessert. Connor Roberts asked for a bill. Connor Roberts asked for a bill. The food all came to $70, which was absolutely ridiculous. The lads were infuriated with what they were charged. So when they got home, they decided to write a letter to the restaurant where they ate to make a complaint about the price of the food that they had got to pay, which cost them over a fortune. The next day, Connor Roberts received a phone call on the phone. He received a phone call on the phone from the manager. On the phone, the manager apologised to Connor Roberts and the lads for having to pay $70. I haven't got a clue what that is in English currencies, but $70 American money. When he told them that the waiter had recently been employed and hadn't received any training, the next day the waiter, whose name Joanne Reed received a phone call while she was out having a coffee with her friends. Steve Matthews said on the phone. Steve Matthews said to her on the phone, could she come in to see him? So at 3 p.m. American time, Joanne Reed arrived at Twin Peaks Restaurant, where she worked, where Steve Matthews, her employer, Steve Matthews, her employer, was there waiting for her. Steve Matthews said to her that someone had wrote a letter to complain about her behaviour towards the 7 lads. He dismissed her from her job, and the lads got their refund from Twin Peaks Restaurant. However, in a dramatic twist, Joanne Reed sued Twin Peaks Restaurant for unfair dismissal. She took the restaurant to the court. The next morning, Joanne Reed arrived in court. Also, Steve Matthews was in the box. Also, with the 7 lads, one of the 7 lads was asked by the judge why they go to
bottom shelf.
Twin Peaks Restaurant.
There's a hook.
He said that a friend had recommended the restaurant to them. The judge now asked
one. It on there,
the judge now asked another one of the lads to stand up. He asked the other lad, how much did the bill come to? He answered to the judge that it had cost them all $70 for the main course, desserts, and the drink they had.
Put some more hooks.
Now in the witness box, it was the turn of Joanne Reid to give her side to the judge. She said she charged them $70 because that's what the price came to on her machine. Steve Matthews spoke to the judge. Now, he said that she went for an interview last week and got the job the day before, and that she didn't have any experience working in a restaurant. Joanne Reid spoke again to the judge. She played down the stories what Steve Matthews had said. She said she got the job a couple of weeks ago, and that Steve Matthews had given her the training. Connor Roberts spoke again to the judge. Connor Roberts said that Joanne Reid was making really personal remarks towards his family. Steve Matthews was asked by the judge how much did it usually cost for a cheeseburger, chips and a chocolate brownie. His answer was that $8,330. So the judge adjourned for the day, and the court case would resume 10 a.m. in the morning the next day. 10 a.m. in the morning. The next day the court case resumed, and the judge heard from Mitch Johnson. The judge asked Mitch Johnson how did him and his mates feel when the bill came to $70. Mitch Johnson's response was, "We were all really angry, and when we came home he wrote to the manager and we made a complaint towards him." So we made a complaint towards him, I meant towards her, sorry. Steve Matthews spoke again to the judge. The judge said to Steve Matthews, "Did you receive a letter from Connor Roberts?" Steve Matthews said, "Yes, he did." Later in the day, Joanne Reid learned that she had lost her appeal. She had lost her appeal, and she was going to spend the rest of her life in the prison cells. The end, Sam Jenkinson.
Thank you, Sam.